Hi everyone, thanks so much for tuning in. This is Kathy. I'm back with another card using Mae the Mouse from Honeybee Stamps. This is for my 2019 Valentine's Day series. And I'm not going to go over how I colored her this time because I did it in a previous video, which I will be sure to link to at the end of this video. Once we get further along, there are a few things that I do want to share with you that I did specifically with her overalls and the strawberry that she took a bite out of. But for the remainder of coloring her, I'm going to go ahead and leave you with some music. I had a very specific idea for this card, and of course I ended up changing my mind. So some of the stuff, it kind of may not make a whole lot of sense with the final product, but it's because of how my brain worked and the order in which I started to do things. It was kind of confusing even for me. So for the overalls, I stamped them using Extreme Black Hybrid ink onto a piece of light coral cardstock, and then you saw with a wet rag, I took the ink off of the pocket that's on the bib. I was afraid that the pocket would interfere with the strawberry that Mae took a bite out of. In the end, I ended up using a full strawberry on the front of the card, and the strawberry she took a bite out of on the inside of the card. So it wouldn't have mattered whether or not I took that pocket off. But I did, and I just kind of kept going with it because I didn't really want to start over. So I did, after I fussy cut the overalls, I used a water-based black marker to go around the edge just to kind of give the illusion that the cutting was perfectly clean, which it was not, but doing the ink around the edge definitely helps smooth some of those edges out. When I looked at the overalls after they were cut out, I thought, well, they were kind of plain, so I thought that I could add some stripes. And I used a white gel pen to do that, and I used the smallest point that I had, which I believe is a 0.05, to get a really nice fine line. When I did the line down the center of the overalls, I did start in the middle and then worked my way out either side. I wasn't too concerned about the lines being straight, because I can't draw a straight line even with a ruler, and sometimes not even a T-square ruler. So I wasn't too worried about it on the overalls. And I also wasn't too worried about having the spacing be exact. And then to add just a little bit of variation, I used a Copic marker R22 just to color in the pockets and the cuffs of the overalls. With the overalls done, I set those aside and started to work on the strawberry. And I had mentioned that I ended up using a full strawberry for the front of the card and the bitten strawberry for the inside of the card. I did color the other strawberry off camera, but I used the exact same colors. So I'll make sure to list all the individual colors below in the description as well as over on the blog. For the chocolate, once I was done coloring the whole strawberry, I did want to have like stripes of chocolate on the front. So I used a fine tip brown marker just to use as a guide, and then I went over it again with a darker brown Copic, and I barely touched the tip of the marker to those lines. For the bite mark on the strawberry, I used the smallest die from the Peony set by Spellbinders, and I just taped it so only a chunk of it would be taken out when I ran it through the die cut machine. Then I ran it through with the coordinating strawberry die, but I pushed that die pretty far over so there would be very little white on the non-bitten side of the strawberry, if that's even a word. And I knew that that would leave a lot of white around the rest of the strawberry, but easy peasy, just trimmed it with my scissors. After I had the excess white cardstock cut off the strawberry, I went around the edge with a brush tip marker just like I did with the overalls. Now that I have all of the bits and pieces colored and cut out, it's time to put the card together. I just used liquid adhesive to adhere the overalls to the little mouse, and I had previously cut a piece of white cardstock and a piece of red cardstock with my stitched rectangle dies. So I just adhered those together and then adhered the mouse on top of that. I also had some patterned cardstock that I wanted to use up, so I cut that down to 4 by 5 1/4 and adhered that to a piece of red cardstock that measures 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. And then I added that to the front of a top folding white note card. I added the strawberry using liquid adhesive. One thing that I did do off screen was I did go over those chocolate stripes with some glossy accents just to add a little bit of dimension and shine, and those had been set off to the side to make sure that they were really dry before I put it down. And of course I use an obscene amount of foam tape to adhere the mouse to the front of the card. And for the sentiment on the front, I stamped it using VersaFine Onyx Black ink onto a piece of white cardstock, ran it through my die cut machine with a fishtail banner, and added 3 little dots with a brush tip marker behind the word Valentine so that it reads Valentine ... on the. Oh, and then I added some silver. I used a silver gel pen on the buttons of her overalls just to add just a little more detail. And then for the inside of the card, it reads ... I choose you, and I did die cut the word choose and adhered that on the inside of the card. And the final step was to add the half-eaten strawberry on the inside. And that finishes up the card for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you've not yet subscribed, I'd love it if you would. And we'll see you next time.